Subscribe to Feminism in India for your dose of intersectional feminist content, and make sure to hit the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Big breakthrough in the murder of senior journalist Gauri Lankesh, who was shot dead outside her house last evening by unidentified assailants.
I wake up in the morning to hear being called an anti-Indian and expletives that I don't even want to talk, threats to rape.
Abuse on social media is something all of us face. Women in particular are the target of sexually explicit, often violent posts. But more often than not, it's difficult to take action.
After your father died, when there was human tragedy of this kind, they came for you in swarms.
I wrote an article on how oppressor caste Instagram influencers create and post content that is derisive and discriminatory towards Bahujan women. The influencer videos had individuals from the upper caste communities disparagingly and distinctly berating indigenous Jharkhandi languages.
A culture that is very prevalent in Orissa, where men gather in groups to talk about different things. In it is called khoti, where they gather in colonies. So every colony sort of has a clubhouse or a particular area where they meet, and these areas sort of become places that are unsafe for women. So I would say, to easily sort of to convey it better, these are extensions of the boys' locker room.
It was in year 2019, and I had only started becoming comfortable with my own identity as a Dalit woman. So I decided to organize Dr. Ambedkar Jayanti in my college, Delhi College of Arts and Commerce. And to my surprise, this was the first time that it was being organized throughout the years.
My online harassment happened around July last year. This wasn't related to a specific article or anything, but writing trolls had been keeping tabs on me for a really long time because I have been very vocal about caste and gender online.
It is not only dominant caste men but also dominant caste women who are involved in this activity. One of their baseless and insensitive claims is that a certain amount of economic advancement removes the possibility of casteism. However, every upper caste individual knows that no amount of economic advancement would counter patriarchy or racism that is inflicted upon them. Then, for them to not understand that a Bahujan faces multitudinous challenges in their path on economic advancement, and even then faces casteism after achieving the advancement, manifests willful ignorance. The discriminatory comments and DMs range from mocking our backgrounds, our skin tones, our accents, to terming us hate peddlers for speaking the truth and asking that our friends boycott us.
I remember someone writing that my article is garbage, and I should stop writing, and there were so many comments on how I should dress, how I should present myself, how I'm not following the culture, and how I should just stop being an attention seeker. There were also a lot of comments on how I look, and I remember one of the comments on my article was that I am ugly.
The kind of sexual violence that the comments carried, and these are comments that I received from anonymous accounts on Facebook and Instagram. And so when I decided to speak up, to just claim my cultural symbol of Dr. Ambedkar in a public space like Delhi University, I was trolled immensely for just being Dalit. I was told that I'm a beneficiary of a system, that I am fair, and that I belong to a economically stable family. That how can I was told that you cannot be Dalit, and I felt like I can't even claim my identity in a.
The gender nature of the abuse is what disturbed me a lot, and Twitter doesn't have enough mechanisms to report a lot of this abuse because most of it comes in the form of abuses where they've used characters to sort of like hide what the abuse really is. And there were some abuses which were in format of pictures, which were harder to report, so I had to email the policy team.
For those of us who belong to the confluence of a marginalized gender, a marginalized community, as well as a marginalized state, the trials and tribulations only get compounded. Social media then is not a place to reel and relax, but to discern that casteist reels have thousands and at times millions of views, and that the privileged, instead of questioning them, are connecting over them. It triggers us, hounds us, and constantly makes us feel unsafe. Casteist reels are a form of casteist violence.
A lot of moral policing that happens with women writing articles online. So I remember one person writing that I should follow the cultures of my religion and how I should not be a bad woman because I talked about something that was bothering me.
As a queer person, I feel like my trolling was intensified a lot because there were a lot of instances where my photo was circulated, and this photo was where I had done pride makeup, and there were specific abuses which were gendered in nature and which were queer-phobic in nature that were used against.
Now, how does the nature of such trolling differs from the nature of trolling that upper caste or dominant caste women receive is very much reflected in the kind of comments and the welcome treatment they get. In our own popular culture, it is always the brave woman is always a Sharma, right? Sharma ji ki beti. And the very spoiled brat is usually from a woman from a marginalized caste, and she is made to look extremely sexual in a very derogatory way. Either she is stealing, or even the domestic workers in the background shown in such movies are always shown in a bad light.
While it is imperative to take therapy as and when needed, it is also paramount to comprehend that most Bahujans are denied access to it, and that there needs to be an institutional and systemic change to make access to healthcare a basic right in reality. Above all, it is for the oppressors to grasp that it is not the sole responsibility of the oppressed to fight oppression. It is in fact the duty of the oppressors to stop oppressing.
And for my own sanity, I switched off notifications for Twitter, and it is still off because I still fear that someone will come and say something and it will trigger me.
Yeah, the coping strategies were mainly to act on it in the sense of mailing the policy team and acting on it directly. But it's really hard to do that because these people are mostly cis-het men, and they are abusing, and these threats can actually materialize into actual happenings later. So online spaces need to be more safe, especially for journalists, because it's not just this one instance, but I have received rape and death threats for my other articles also.
The whole intention about trolling and humiliating women from marginalized caste group is to stop them from speaking. It is to really show the dominant caste groups and the society that these women are a mere tool to be used and thrown. But we don't work with that kind of mentality anymore. The kind of mentality we work is that we own up our constitutional morality as Dalit women. We believe in the constitution. We believe in the power vested in social democracy. We believe that we have the right to speak, to be able to look beautiful, to be fair or not fair, to be bold, to be dark, to be sexy, to be happy, to be educated, and most important, to really being out in the open and speaking for ourselves.